My name is Jack Stanley, and I'm the co-founder of the Tech Academy. I'd like to welcome you to the Tech Academy podcast. The Tech Academy operates a 15-week software developer bootcamp. Our program can be taken online from anywhere in the world. You can find out more at our website, learncodinganywhere.com. That's learncodinganywhere.com.
Our guest on the podcast today is Oz du Soleil. Oz is a dynamic personality. A Microsoft MVP, he is an expert in Excel and its many uses. Join me as we speak with Oz about how he got into the industry and his journey to being a technology professional. Some of this I already know, and some of I think I've forgotten. Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born on Great Lakes Naval Base and grew up in North Chicago, Illinois. But not North Side, but North. It's called North Chicago.
You were born on Great Mistakes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I went to boot camp at Orlando, which is no longer even active as a boot camp.
Right.
And it was December, January, February, and we were thinking about our poor compatriots who were at boot camp.
Yes.
in Chicago on the lake.
Oh yeah, I did boot camp in Great Lakes in April, and it was cold. But you know the thing, what I remember about that was, like being out there in our utility jacket, standing at attention, and that snot running down our faces, and it was a situation where it did not matter. We didn't have to look good or smell good. It was okay to have ketchup and snot and everything else on our utility jackets.
Yeah. Boot camp was wild. It was like it was a completely different, and it's completely different than actually being in the service.
Yeah.
Except I found myself going back to it in the years while I was in the service, going, "Oh, that's why when they say jump, you just jump." You know, we'd be doing drills for onboard fire in a submarine. Whoa, there's some scary stuff. You know.
Yes.
And when they tell you to move, you just move. You don't even question it. So it made a lot of sense. But yeah, our experience was a little less environmentally intrusive being down in Florida. It was really not that bad. So how long were you in?
6 years.
Okay. Yeah, same as me.
Yeah.
What was your rating?
QM2 when I got out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quartermaster.
Yeah. Quartermaster navigation, but I did go to nuclear power school. Didn't pass.
Yeah. That's a tough school.
Yeah.
It really is.
But you went to nuclear power school.
Yeah. When were you in? What years?
85 to 91.
Okay. 87 to 94. So very parallel. Yeah. It was a tough school. It really was. Yes. I remember hitting a point about 5 weeks into this 6-month nuclear power school where we're really starting to hit heavy math, which I did really poorly in high school. And I had already heard the stories about what happens if you drop out, and they made it sound horrible. You can be hanging off the side of a ship, chipping paint for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
They really scared you with it. And there was a guy in the previous class who had killed himself, and I went, "Oh man, I'm really in it."
Yeah.
Like, I just had to make a choice. Am I just going to solve this thing with math and really just power through and figure it out? And there's something to be said for studying with a purpose. You know? And the purpose wasn't so much at that point that, how am I going to use this? Although it eventually became that. It was, am I just going to survive? Am I, and I figured out math. And I'm really, really glad I did. I should have done it in high school, but I didn't. But it took that sort of necessity level in my environment to make me go, no, you better figure this out.
Right. But now you had to start with something, because getting into nuclear power school is a challenge.
Yeah.
And I
barely made it. Anyway, go ahead.
But there was one chief who said something. He had his own profile about nukes. Yeah. Is that you're smart, but you're lazy. He had this whole profile. It's like, why aren't these people in college, but then they're going to go through this program and even getting in the program. I remember that test because I did well on the ASVAB.
Yeah.
And then they came to me and said, we think you did high enough to at least take the nuke test. You don't have to do it, but at least take the test. And I remember there being some light calculus, a lot of trigonometry in there.
Yeah, some physics in there. Remember?
Yeah. And I scored high enough to just take the 4-week preschool, because there were the 2 preschools.
I didn't know about preschools
for the nuclear power school.
Really?
Right.
I didn't have that.
No. Well, okay. So
they probably should have given it to me. I didn't do very well on the test.
There was the So I went to electrician's mate school, and then there is here is when nuclear power school starts. But then there's the 2 preschools, and one was like maybe 2 months, and the other one was a month. I scored well enough to just take the month long.
Okay.
And that it was tough. It was a lot of stuff all at once. But when I look back, because I was diagnosed with ADHD at 38 years old, and now I can understand that being screamed at by the instructors. Why are you falling asleep? You're always falling asleep. You not getting enough sleep at night? Yeah, I'm getting enough sleep at night, but I'm sitting here falling asleep. And now I can understand this ADHD sitting in this chair all day.
Oh
yeah, it was driving me crazy. And what else can I do but fall asleep?
Yeah, it was an interesting training environment. When I put the school together here, the Tech Academy, one of the key elements of how we train people actually came from an experience in nuclear power school. It's been a long time since I was able to talk to somebody who would actually understand it. I went through all that 6 months of electronic school, went after boot camp, and then I started this 6-month nuclear power school that they intimidate the heck out of you with, how hard it is and blah, blah, blah. And I'm about halfway through that school, and it's tough. Yeah. It's really tough. Yeah. And then all of a sudden one day, there's a commotion at the front of the class, and I see the instructors. There's 2 of them. They're wheeling in some big gray thing. And I look at it, and I realize it's about an 8-foot tall, handmade model of a nuclear reactor. And I just looked at the thing, and my head started to explode in a really good way. I was looking at how all these pieces and parts fit together and what they look like in the real world. Yeah. And I was alternately unbelievably excited because I could finally understand a bunch of things that were just like I couldn't quite grasp and put together. And frankly, I was a bit pissed. I was upset. I'm like, why hasn't that thing been at the front of the classroom the whole time you've been talking to us about, uranium-235 as a nuclear material and the
emergency cooling and all this stuff,
channels that the water's going to go through, and where the pump intake and out, why hasn't this been right there the whole time? Yeah. And so I was just going over this with a few of my students because they're going to be delivering a free code camp to middle schoolers this summer, which is really, really cool. And one of the things we're going to do with the kids is actually something we do with our adult learners. Right as soon as they begin the program, after they've cleared up a couple of the basic fundamental terms of digital machines and computers, they walk over to a table we have where there's a fully functioning computer with the case taken off of it, and there's a bucket of parts. And every single one of the parts is labeled. You can pick it up and go, oh, that's a power supply because it says this is a power supply, right? And you can pick it up that's a motherboard because it says this is a motherboard, right? And what they have to do is they have to pick up each one of those parts and find it inside the actual working computer. Yes. And then when they're done, they finally click. It finally clicks for them like, oh, it's a physical machine because they've got the mass of the thing they're studying. And that came directly from that initial like, oh, why wasn't that model of the nuclear reactor up in front of me the whole time? So it's one of the reasons among many that we've done well here is we've solved that thing. Okay. We've solved having the mass of what you studied. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So you were, quartermaster and all that, but obviously you got through some of boot camp, nuclear power school, had a pretty strong technical background already. Did you do computer work or training or anything while you were in the service? Like when did you start to transition to being a technology worker?
That's a lot in that question. Yeah. And I can say like specifically a technology worker versus like being technical and curious. So there's different things there.
Okay.
Because even like with music notes, I can see patterns and see how things hang together. Right. And when I was studying philosophy, I took mostly logic and reasoning courses.
Okay.
I hated talking about Descartes and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So when I started working with being technical, it happened when I was at a call center.
Okay.
Yeah. And man, it was tough. I hated being there. I wondered, how did my life get to where I'm working in a call center? And it's like my supervisor would get up, wait for me to get up and go to the bathroom or something, and put this note on my chair. Red X's and arrows. You taking too few calls. You got too long of time between calls. What the hell is... And I realized, okay, I can fight these people and say, look how hard I'm working. I'm sweating. Look at this. Look. They're not going to pay attention to that. Okay. They're attacking me with data. I got to respond with data. And I would also like to know, okay, if I'm only taking 50 calls a day when somebody else is taking 90, what's in my 50? We didn't know that. Their paper didn't show that.
Right.
So for a week, I wrote down every call, everything I did. What is this call about? What action did I take? What was I doing between the call? I went downstairs to billing to get an answer for this 9-minute call that I just had. So now we've got all this data about what Oz did for a week. And I was thinking, okay, so I can write this stuff down, and there's this thing called Excel on my computer. I can type stuff in it, can make some graphs and things. Let's try this. So I did write everything down on paper, and then I started to load it into Excel. And then I started to notice categories. And now I can start to break this stuff up and say, okay, here's the detail and here's the categories. And now how much time was spent on categories and how much time, how many phone calls with those. And so that was me being analytical and then thinking logically to dig inside this complaint about me that 50 calls in a day is just 50 calls in a day. How do you
One
pack
data point.
Yeah, how do you pack a judgment around that?
Yeah.
So I turned that over to the CEO of the company. I went over my supervisor, over the director. Because the director, he was purely a data guy. He would sit in his office with the door closed and just crank data. The people were miserable working under him.
Yeah.
So I figured I need to get this data to somebody who will appreciate it for what it is and have the power to do something. Their willingness is a different conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I turned it over to him, and we had a couple of conversations. He found it fascinating and all. But soon after that, there was this shakeup. And the director was gone. They brought in a new director. Calls started getting rerouted because their thought was all these calls that are backing up in queue, these are people saying, hey, I want to sign up for a course. Take my money. No. Tech support calls. Calls to say, I ordered something and I wanted it overnight, and I've seen FedEx has come and gone where I live and my stuff isn't here. What's going to... So now I got to research that. Somebody says, I want to take the Series 7 class and I want to take it with Steve. When and where is Steve teaching it? So now I'm in the system looking for where is Steve teaching the Series 7 class.
Yeah.
That takes time. And then the person says, okay, thank you. They didn't sign up for the course. They might do it next week or something, but that winds up being this long call. And my supervisor's complaining about me. So when the new director came in, he confided in me like 10 years later that I was one of 3 people he was supposed to fire. Yeah. But he saw that I gave a damn. That was behind my orneriness.
Right.
You know, me getting up and my supervisor saying, where are you going? We got 20 calls in queue. I'm going over the exam and grading to find out why this woman in Maryland didn't get reported to her state for her continuing education. And that really started to get me into data and digging and understanding reports. Also, the way that they responded to me and my data was fascinating. They took me seriously. Oh my God.
Instead of just, here's an opinion some guy has.
Right.
Like, no, look at that. This is objective data analyzed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was power.
Yeah.
So then when I started digging into this data and finding out why wasn't this lady reported to her state? And then the people who were supposed to report her, she wasn't on my report. Okay. So I learned that people weren't dropping the ball or being lazy. The data was a mess. She's got 5 profiles in the system. You know, like one where she went online and signed up, and another one when 2 profiles when she was with this company, and winds up with 5 profiles in the system, and her 4 required courses for CE are sprinkled across 4 different profiles, and the report is not picking her up to be reported. And so now we understand, okay, a report is a very poor metaphor for reality. Because you can't expect somebody to sit down with all of reality in their desk and go through reality. There's this summary. But now understand that it is a summary. What is it summarizing? Let's go back to that.
What's the source data?
Yeah. And that winds up being a beautiful thing and a powerful thing.
I love hearing this.
Help somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And realizing things like, okay, these 4 courses are required, except August 1st, for these states, this one course is going to be optional. But nobody tells the person who builds the report about the change in the business rule. And so now when the change happens, the calls of complaints come in. Why didn't I get my certificate?
Right.
Oh, well, I can see here that you did do the 3 courses and you didn't do the optional one. That's fine, but why aren't you on this report? Because nobody told the person who
set the report criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of things over my 7 years of that company, what I'm saying, stop sending me these damn reports. I will download the raw ass data.
I want the data. Let me dive into the data.
Yeah, because now I can draw a circle around if you are supposed to do something in no shorter than 1 year and no more than 3 years, and then the report is missing things like somebody started a program 5 years ago and stopped, and started 2 years ago and finished. The report still sees 5 years.
Right.
But no, I can get all that data and draw a ring, you know, like filter down. Okay, I don't even want to see something from 5 years ago. Then now I've got stuff that I can work with.
Absolutely.
And then there is the offsite consultant who was super expensive, you know, because now I'm getting into this issue of, well, why not just fix the report? Well, there's this offsite consultant who does all this fancy whatever he does, the database queries and the math and everything. He's expensive, and I got to talk to somebody to get approved to pay him. And the question is, well, Oz, how much would it be for you to just do it every month? Right?
That's great.
And I can do it.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, give Oz a day to do this versus pay this guy, and it might be a month before, and then we got to do all the testing of it and everything.
Right.
So
whereas you're living in that business domain every day as well. Yeah. For him, you're one of maybe a handful of clients. You live and breathe that data all day long. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So that so that was like the very earliest years. And I feel like, you know, when I
think about what makes a good analyst, it's not being really good with R or Excel. It's giving a damn. And giving a damn about the people.
Yep.
That lady in Maryland, her life shouldn't have all this upheaval because of our crap data.
Right. She's one person, not 5 digital identities.
Right.
She's one person,
right.
And she did that stuff in the real world.
Yes.
That's on us to have a system that actually accounts for that, not on her. It's that difference
right.
between being a blind, uncaring government, agency versus a living, breathing organization that is there to be of service to someone.
Yes, and that's it. These tools, whether it's R or a notepad, a mechanical pencil, they are in service of something that affects real people.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always cared about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I could see why it'd be frustrating to have that guy that, sits in the ivory tower of his manager's office and looks at data. There's nothing wrong with analyzing data, but the data isn't a person. The person's a person.
Right.
And if you don't have as complete enough a picture to be able to really think with that, you're going to make capricious, arbitrary decisions, and frankly, eventually the organization's going to die. And a lot of people get hurt along the way.
Yeah.
That's a neat path in. It's a really neat path in. And I particularly want our students to be able to hear something like that, because it's all too often in traditional education. We try to not do this to them, but in traditional education, they're given a perfect set of data that can be analyzed a certain way and then has a nice, easy outcome at the other end where the instructor can say, oh, good, yeah, they saw the different categories and they did an analysis, right? And it's a rather nifty way of composing a mathematical and/or logical problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. You'll never find that. You'll never find that. What you'll find is a lady in Maryland that has 5 identities.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's what you're really going to find.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
If you can teach a person to think with that's actually more often what happens, and that you need to be creative and always be thinking, if I'm making a digital solution for something, if I'm making a digital machine solve something, then it's only ever as good as my thought process and my duplication and understanding of what actually happened in the real world.
Yeah.
If I can really get that first, we teach this in code philosophy for writing code. You really want to have approached the problem that you're trying to solve well enough and written it down in pseudocode or in some sort of flowchart that you really, really wrapped your wits around it, that writing the code is almost an afterthought. It's like, well, I know how this can be solved. This code is now just my tool for solving something I already solved on paper or in my head.
Yes.
Does that when you deal with Excel, and does that same sort of thought process come in?
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's what comes to mind: is a client comes to me with something. Okay, need this to happen. All right. What is your starting point, and what do you need to have happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can put the guts in, but the thing is, what is this body looking like?
Mm-hmm.
Where's, help me to understand that. And stepping back, drawing pictures, diagrams, and then the formulas come in later. Yeah.
The formulas reflect just the natural human process that's going to have to occur to solve this thing. I would use my mind to solve this. Now I'm going to put my mind's decision process in a computer.
That's the thing. And there's this lady, Ann Emery in Washington, D.C. She's an analyst that's got a bit of a following, and she and I have talked, and she said that the best analytical device is your brain. Getting that, probing, digging, understanding what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time I was calculating commissions, and after a couple of months, so this was a new commissions program that the vice president of sales came up with, and somebody generated say $5,000 in 1 month, and then the next month it's like $200. And it's just crazy. And I'm checking my math, right? And I'm just looking at these numbers. And then I said, what the hell? Let me put this stuff into a graph. And we saw like a sawtooth.
Yeah.
Way up and way down.
A roller coaster.
Yeah, and it was tied to a national exam that was given 4 times a year.
Wild.
Right. So just by wondering, saying, it would have been one thing to say, my math is right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fine. Yeah. But this was causing anxiety, like these huge commissions 1 month. And now the vice president of sales, he's wondering about, okay, like maybe $200,000 in commissions this month. What's this $200,000 next month? And the next month, this is going to be crazy.
Right.
So then when it's down hugely the next month, what is going on?
Yeah.
So now I am getting curious. Put it in a graph, and that's where I saw that sawtooth pattern.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Like, well, what's happening here? Why? What's behind it?
Yeah.
But now you see, what you said about looking at musical notes and seeing patterns. We often get asked, what kind of people should become developers or technology workers?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know there's one pat answer to that, but I will tell you this, is that people who look around in the world and see connections, they see patterns. They go, oh, if blah, blah, and blah, then I predict blah, and then they look to see, is that what actually occurred? This kind of a thought process is just, it really makes a good developer. I think makes a person who can navigate life pretty well. But in terms of being a developer, it's like, well, no, how can I understand the data better from a position of cause and effect? What is it that's actually behind this thing? And I love the fact that you work with data all day long, because data on its own is just data, but data that has been gathered meticulously and is comprehensive, and where the connections between different types of the data have been established, now it's a tool minds can use, human minds can use. And that's really what Excel is all about,
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question about like developers and hardcore IT. Like Excel users, typically, Excel is not our profession. Like I was a customer service rep, a commissions analyst. Whereas somebody who does SQL, that's their career.
Yes.
And so there's sometimes this, depending on the work culture, there can be a hostility between IT and the business. Other times there's just a wariness.
Yeah.
Like, where did you get this data? Who compiled this for you?
Yeah, people can be a bit defensive sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And understandably, I had a business analyst who said, I can give you a data dump, but how you cleanse it and analyze it is on you, right? You understand that? Because if it did come out that we got to close a branch or something, she didn't want that on her, or that conversation track. That she wanted that on me. So I can understand these differences. I had somebody try to calculate their own commission and then learned that they pulled it from the wrong table out of the database. So all that stuff happened. What was really frustrating was being a customer service rep who's taking the frustration calls and then go to the database admin and say, can you get me this data? I need to see this, maybe I can do that in 2 weeks, because next week is month end and I'm with accounting, and then I go on vacation for a week. And so me and my maybe 500 people that I'm trying to help, that's a low priority for this international company.
Right.
And I get these calls. The database admin doesn't get those calls.
Right.
So how is it important? Should it matter to them?
Yeah. I bumped into this in large enterprise environments I've worked in, and I bumped into it in smaller companies. One of the types of projects I enjoyed the most is working on business intelligence projects where the developer, the whole team creating the business intelligence solution, if you will, really gets an opportunity to actually become business consultants. Not that they're going to advise on policy, but what I mean is, for a business consultant to actually be worth these sometimes large amounts of money they're given, they need to genuinely understand the whole business.
Yes.
To a pretty deep degree. It can't be a cursory thing. It has to be a deep dive, right?
Yeah.
And if you do, in fact, understand that, now you know what data to get, and you can know how to shape the data. If you don't understand the problem extremely well, then all the data in the world isn't going to help you. You know,
Right.
I've found that some developers unfortunately can get a bit defensive about their code or what projects they're working on. The thing we try to teach our students, and that I've ascribed to, and I'm not perfect at it at all, as my friends will tell me, is to be willing to be wrong.
Yes, gotta be.
Just be willing to be wrong.
Gotta be.
If you are so insecure that you cannot handle being wrong, then you're toast. Because the fact is that it's going to happen.
Yes.
You will eventually be wrong. But if you're looking at the survival of, just from a purely selfish standpoint, just keeping your job, if there's a wrongness in how a company is processing data, handling customers, or whatever, and enough of those stack up, the company goes away. Where's your job then? Where's your, get away, this is my bailiwick, you don't intrude here, I know what I'm doing. What bailiwick? You're out on the street, looking for a job,
Yeah.
So I've tried to do that and try that and instill that in our students is, hey, it's actually really cool when you find out you were wrong about a basic assumption. Because that means from that point forward, every solution you create is going to be more effective.
Yes. And there was a time I had learned about building alerts into my spreadsheets. Like if I've got 1,000 transactions, have they been put somewhere? If in the end, after I've peeled it down and done everything, if I can't account for all 1,000 transactions, do I have first, am I aware? And second, do I have a story about it? Even if that story is, I know it's there, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Even that.
Yeah.
There's this time the controller, his office was right by my cubicle.
Yeah.
Said, hey, Oz, would you swing by here for a second? And he's looking at the commissions, and it looked like a number was off. And I looked at it and said, yeah, we almost paid somebody $2,000 more than they should have gotten. And I saw how I had messed it up. I was shaking. I was scared because now the controller is in this. And then he's got to tell payroll now, we need some more time so that we can go check everything. And I called my friend Patrick because I was sure that I was going to just be,
Yeah.
I was done.
Have you seen the sidewalk?
But Patrick said, all right, and when he caught it, did you own the mistake? What happened? I said, yeah. And I showed him where I saw, I messed up right there. I said, okay. And he caught it, which shows that the levels before it gets to payroll, those worked. When you lie, try to hide, pretend you didn't see it, that's when people not only get fired, they go to jail. So just going back to work.
Yep. Good advice.
And that's how it played out.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah. That was a serious mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't cost me my job.
Actually, it gives me food for thought for the school. That's actually really good. We do, like I was showing you earlier when we gave you the tour, we have that, where people do the live project, and we're trying to be somewhere in between just an academic exercise and the real world where the consequences for messing up on the job could include being fired. We went somewhere in between that, so that they at least experience some of that pressure of like, no, you're expected to be a professional and do as good a job as you can at this and really care about turning out a quality product. And if you don't, hey, a company's not going to hold on to you, right? That's a lot of pressure. We don't put that much on them while they're still in school, but we put some of it on there. I think one of the things we can actually start to stress is, listen, you will make a mistake. I've deleted a production database before. There ain't no feeling like that. That is I think I'm going to go take a very long walk. I may not come back kind of feeling, but then you own up to it. Yeah, I did. Here's how I think we can recover. I'm going to take the hit, That's a really good lesson. I love that that's how you handled it.
Yeah.
There wasn't that defensiveness, you know. And
Right.
ever since I met you, I've been impressed. I wasn't surprised that'd be the way you handle it. But I can also understand the nervousness.
Yeah, I was scared, man. It's like maybe I should quit before I get fired.
Right.
But fortunately, I talked with
Yeah.
Patrick about it, and it helped me to see, okay, build alerts. Can I account for everything? What if a number on this tab needs to equal a number over on this tab, and they don't equal? How will I know?
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Yeah, that helped a lot. When you mentioned the real world and stuff, and the thing about the lady with the 5 profiles, what I have found is folks aren't ready for the level of crap data and having clean data, and seeing some report that some people spend as much as 80% of their time just cleaning data and not doing
The actual analysis.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's astounding, and it is. I know there's no substitute for just diving into the real world and like finding out what's out there, but to the degree that we can prep people for what's out there, and part of why I'm excited about you know, speaking to the students at the school is like, you will never find perfect data. You will not find it,
and that's part of the reality of accepting that data will always be filthy, but now can it be clean enough?
Yeah, that it can be of value. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you're working primarily in Excel like you are, or whether you're building a custom software application. One of the things we stress on the very first course even is that a computer is a digital machine intended for processing data. They're there to process data.
Yeah.
And we look at fancy, cool things, and you playing Starship, you know, on your computer and blah blah blah. To an extent, it's processing data. But no, when the data represents something that happened in the real world, that chain between how the data was obtained, what it actually, and here it is, to what degree your model you've created in the computer actually represents what's happening in the real world, there's your success or failure. And what you described there were 5 profiles. The system that was designed to represent this one individual was faulty. She was allowed to be represented as if she was 5 different individuals. What safeguards are put in place to guarantee that, you know?
And that gets complicated when, the report was made at a time when the company wasn't as big, the business rules weren't as complex, and there was no internet.
Oh, yeah.
And so now she's with a company that has a portal that people can go in and sign themselves up for courses and things at the company discount. So now there's that. And then the artistry of building forms, right? Because you can't build a form that makes people crazy, right? Like, say her name, Catherine Smithers. Can you build a form that looks in the world and says, you already in here is Kate Smithers from 19 years ago? No, that's gonna get nuts, right? So you accept some slop, but then adjust for that. And that was when I decided, stop sending me these reports. I will just deal with the raw data because I knew that goofy stuff was in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, dealing with things like AAA, right? Somebody's supposed to get commissions on AAA. And then officially it should be in the database as AAA. And then somebody will put in A space A space A. And somebody else will put in AAA and misspell triple. And I'm the commissions analyst who's got to deal with this. So now how do I deal with this? Because now we got all these transactions. I can't go through them one at a time.
What bucket they go into and how do you map it? Yeah.
So then I start building into my process. Let me take like big transactions. If there's transactions that haven't been assigned to anybody, let me take the ones that are at least $100 and above and like kind of eyeball through them. see if something weird is in it. And a lot of times I would find something that shouldn't have been in there. But that was the process, and learning about the data and realizing, okay, why the $100 mark? Because when you're talking in like 2, 3, 4.5% commissions, I'm not going to deal with these $9 transactions. There's so many of them.
Right.
And for one salesperson, that's not any significant money. So, but that's understanding the data, the process, the business rules, what we're impacting here.
It is. And the story you told earlier about these numbers look wrong, right?
Yeah.
It just made me realize again why it is that technology workers get paid well. We get paid well because the problems we solve have tremendous impact, and because it isn't always easy. Like, you need to absolutely do your due diligence. But if you solve the problem the correct way, the benefit to the company can be incredible.
Yes.
If you solve it the wrong way, it can be really bad.
Yes.
So
yeah,
you will get paid commensurate with your ability to impact the organization in a good or a bad way.
Yeah.
You do it the wrong way often enough, and
that's bad news, because it just trickles through everything. Everything. Even as just angry calls. And regulatory bodies coming in. And then forensic accounting. That's fascinating.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've talked to a few people that do that kind of work.
Yeah.
They're like, those are sharp cookies.
Oh.
They are really sharp.
Man. Because, see, data quality, validation. Does your form allow for people to put weird stuff in? To say that I'm 47 years old, planning to retire at 19. Will your form allow that kind of stuff? And then who knows about the data quality? Who's thinking about data quality? And forensic accountants coming in to figure out, are you lazy? Did you genuinely not know? Are you trying to hide stuff? That is not fun.
Yeah.
So you got to take this stuff seriously. Yeah.
Wild stuff. Yeah, these are all concerns that developers have as well, because they build the systems that can implement that, The other thing that you remind me of is the incredible value of a business analyst. That person who is in between the business itself and the hardcore developers and coders to implement custom software applications. You have an incredible analyst mind. I love that, and it's a very specific, exact way of thinking that bridges the real world, the human person, the lady, and then the actual tools used in the business that are digital tools, software. The 5 ladies, 5 profiles, right?
Yep.
And if you can bridge that and communicate to both sides of things really well, man, your career is going to do really, really well.
Yeah, and knowing how to communicate with both sides of that. Absolutely. Yeah. They're very different needs, concerns. Yeah.
Well, as we wrap things up here, I wanted to have you get an opportunity to be able to talk more about what you do now, for a living, and in terms of travel and the type of work you do. I was fascinated by it when I first found out a little bit. So, what does your business look like right now? What do you do for people?
Training. I've been focused on training. As of January 1st of this year, I decided I didn't want to do client work anymore. I love to train people and empower them. So I've got an online course on data cleansing, primarily using...
Whoop crap data. Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about whooping crap data.
Whoop its ass. Yeah, that's right. Get it to act right.
Yes.
Its days are numbered. Because...
and they're numbered consecutively, properly, all right?
Yeah. Because, man, you just... Going back to the early days of the freelancing and taking client work and feeling like, I don't know everything. What if they ask me something I don't know? Well, I can figure it out. But I had to take on a persona of this weary, old marshal in the Old West who comes into this town where there's marauding and gambling and lying and horse stealing, I'm going to stop it. And I don't know who's doing it, how long they've been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop it.
Okay.
Me and my one gun and my old horse. So taking on a persona, then I could go in there and be confident, go into places. So I want to empower others to say, okay, all this loose stuff is going to tighten up.
Mm-hmm.
These reports and these bad processes, these painful processes, error-prone processes of copying and pasting stuff. So I partnered with a guy in Spain, and we have a data cleansing course. I've gone and spoken places. I went to Toronto last September, and I went to Amsterdam back in April. And I was in Santa Barbara a few weeks ago recording a course.
I'll break your heart. It's gorgeous down there this time of year, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous down there any time of year.
Well,
that's awesome.
And I'm excited to be here, sharing the knowledge. So that's what my life looks like now. I do small projects, but generally no months-long projects. More training, tutoring. I've done some Skype sessions to help people, help coach them, guide them, point them in the right direction with something that they're trying to do. But mostly training.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Where can people go to find out more?
Find me on, the biggest thing I do is my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Excel on Fire. Where, see, it's been like a year and a half since I took on this style of video making because I felt like what I was doing before was a straight, dry screencast. Here, how you do something. And that was appealing to my peers and do-it-yourselfers.
Yes.
Whereas now, how do I appeal to people who need some help? They're bored by this just disembodied voice in a screencast. So I put fire and have fun.
I've seen the videos. They're fantastic.
And so the video that I posted yesterday, I went through the 6 types of joins, like anti-joins, left outer joins, energy, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I went through that and I said, okay, how are we going to do this? We're going to look at people who want to party and people who are in the club. And now what is our left outer join going to tell us? Our left outer join is going to tell us the people who want to party and are not in the club. What's going on? Did they need a ride or something? Did they get tired? The right outer join says who's in the club and does not want to party. What happened to them? Did they run out of money? Did somebody drag them there? But that's a fun way of understanding these joins.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because I'm thinking and thinking about the vast uses for Excel. Because yes, there's the financial stuff and inventory stuff, and then a wedding planner is trying to figure out how many tables they need, how many centerpieces they need. If you add 3 more people, what does that do? Do you have enough tables?
All the way through. Yeah.
Right. Because you got to see, maybe you can put those 3 new people in, and then you just have to get meals for them. But then if those 3 trigger you getting another table, now you got all those other expenses. So I messed around with a spreadsheet around that. And so I thought about, what about how can I show these joins? Yeah. Anytime you might have a person who could be on both lists. Yeah. Then you got an opportunity to learn joins. And then you have, people who are in a club and don't want to be there.
What about someone who doesn't want to party and isn't there and ends off in the corner reading a book? That'll be me.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a way outer non-joint. How's that? Well, thank you very much for sitting down with us. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the talk you give to the students. And you're an incredible educator. I really appreciate the passion you bring to things. And I love hearing your journey of how you arrived here. Everybody's journey for how they arrive into technology and this work, it's their own, and there's no one way it happens. But the inquisitive mind, the drive to solve a real world problem, caring about the group that you're part of and what's going on with it. That's what we want all of our students to walk away with. So
caring. Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah. All right.
Hi, this is Jack Stanley again, co-founder of the Tech Academy. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I'd like to leave you with a suggestion. We call this Jack's Random Tips. Today's tip is, if you find yourself unemployed and in need of a job, it's best to just treat your job search like you would treat a job. Meaning, get up early, work 9 to 5, put in at least 40 hours a week. Why? Well, number one, most likely you'll be working on that schedule anyways once you get a job. You might as well get used to it now. Number two, for most of us, being unemployed is a struggle, and the sooner we land that job, the better. For our living situation, our income, across the boards. Sure, the job search can be difficult, and being rejected can hurt. The only way out of that, though, is to work harder and demonstrate tenacity. Are you more likely to become employed by working away on your job search or not? It's just like anything else. Enough effort, persistence, and work, and you complete the task. How do you spend your time on your job search? Well, send out resumes. Go to companies in person and apply. It doesn't matter if they're advertising for a position or not. Look up local tech companies, walk up to the receptionist, and drop off your resume. Tell all your friends and your family that you're looking for a job. Attend meetups and events. And if you run out of ideas, Google for tips on one's job search. I know it can be tough, and you can feel like giving up sometimes. But like anything worthwhile, you might have to fight for it. The point is, persist. So again, treat your job search like you'd treat a job. Follow a schedule and work it. And again, if you are interested in enrolling in our Software Developer Bootcamp, please visit our website, learncodinganywhere.com. During our bootcamp, students learn several in-demand programming languages. By the end of the bootcamp, students are well-rounded, entry-level software developers. In addition to our thorough curriculum, one of the things that sets us apart is that our program is self-paced, and we offer open enrollment, which means students can start anytime. Whether you're looking for a career change, you're unemployed, or fresh out of high school, the Tech Academy is the perfect option for those interested in breaking into the technology industry. LearnCodingAnywhere.com.